Hi guys, welcome to this video. So I can't believe I'm making this video after the first week of July because the 1st of July was the day I founded the Journal of Young Physicists back in 2020, and usually every year this is the date like I always remember. I mean, I did remember it this year as well, but I didn't find the time to kind of honored the day, do a YouTube video, stuff like that, which I usually try to do for all the years. And that got me thinking about something which is not maybe not directly relevant to the Journal of Young Physicists, but something that is very important and something which I feel is worth discussing in a YouTube video, which is I'm making this video. By the way, I know some of you are probably wondering, so I'm currently in the National Maritime Museum in Amsterdam. I'm in Amsterdam for a few days, kind of on holidays, because I just wrapped up my first year of my master's degree in Montpellier, France. University of Montpellier, France, and the last few days were pretty intense. I'll be probably doing some videos sharing my experience on that too, because I visited Germany for a seminar on nonlinear dynamics and presented an independent work which I did. I mean, there is a preprint on archive and I'm currently working on it too. So yeah, right now it's a bit more serious than when it was like when it started, but this work, if I'm being very honest with you, it started kind of just because I had a question. It was not a supervisor project, not a project that somebody asked me to develop or something. So it was kind of like a question, and I explored it almost independently. Although I did have some discussions with my supervisors, some of my professors at the university, and stuff like that. So of course, it's not. I mean, their contribution is non-trivial. But yeah, and my experience at the seminar was really great. I mean, I got some really good feedback on the work, and apart from that, it was kind of like a reassurance to me that if you're honest, if you are ready to work, and for example, I really did some hard work because the full code of my simulations is on GitHub. I tried to follow the open science model as best as possible, make my preprint as professional as possible, considering it's a single author work. I was the only author. So this is kind of like a reassurance to me that if you're honest about what you're doing, people will eventually take notice. Because of course this is a bit unusual, because first of all, it's single author. Most big papers today are like collaboration from a lab. Second of all, I'm a master student. I don't have the credentials, like I'm not a PhD, not a postdoc, not a professor, not a researcher. So I know that raised a few eyebrows, but like overall my experience in the seminar was really great. People really, many important people in the field really liked the work. They gave me some good feedback and encouragement, so that matters. But that is one of the reasons why I couldn't do a video on the JYP, because the last few days were pretty intense with the internship defense, the Germany seminar, and that's why I'm just relaxing for a few days in Amsterdam here before flying back to India for the summer break. And so what I want to basically discuss in this video is, I mean, I would also like to hear your like thoughts on this. But like after a point when the Journal of Young Physicists started back in 2020, it was not this serious. It was just a fun idea, almost like a student blog. And initially we didn't have a lot of submissions, it was just a very kind of what you would expect a 15-year-old to do. Even not that, it was pretty unusual for that matter. But yeah, it was not really serious in that sense, and we didn't have a lot of submissions. We didn't initially we struggled a lot to establish the platform, but then things started becoming serious. We started receiving more submissions, and we had to introduce update our editorial policies, especially recently due to AI generated stuff. Many students are submitting like bullshit stuff to us, so we have grown. I mean, there was no other way. We have grown even more strict, because there are like a little over 300 submissions we have to date, and only 100 and around 130 posts on the website. So we had to reject a lot, especially considering this is like a student blog. So the dilemma we face is essentially to do with, on one hand, we really want to encourage students, so rejecting articles, especially written by high school students, is not what we want to do. But at the same time, we have to maintain the standards of the platform, so we cannot really accept whatever we receive, especially if it's like AI generated or clearly nonsense. So I mean, another thing I want to mention in this video, because we have been receiving lots of queries on that. I don't know if people who are interested in the JYP are among the audience of this video, but I'll still mention it anyway. Is that we are okay with incomplete stuff. We are okay with articles which are not polished, which are not like maybe not archive preprint level, not professional, not LaTeX generated. That's all fine, because especially your target audience being high school students or undergraduate students, we're not expecting manuscripts from PhDs. But when students turn to AI to generate articles they don't understand, they cannot take the responsibility of. We really cannot like risk posting that kind of thing. For example, that's something I always say to most of our students we are mentoring, or even our contributors. You don't have to solve quantum gravity to contribute to physics. I mean, I think I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, so I don't want to make this very kind of redundant. But since I'm speaking about this, I'll just take a few minutes to mention that as well. You know, a very good advice which I always try to give is that, for example, if you want to really think like a physicist, train yourself to think like a physicist. Maybe you're a high school student, you have a lot of time, you don't need to have publications, or you don't need the stamp of big institutions, because some students always optimize for their CV. They want to do an internship there because it's a very big university. They can mention the name of that university on their CV. They want to have a publication on JYP because they can say they're a published author. So this is the kind of thing we really kind of discourage against long run, because long run it really doesn't matter very much whether, like, these kind of things. Once you are a professional like physicist, once you are in academia, people will remember you for your work and not for like your credentials, which university, which lab. uh, all that thing will be irrelevant as you grow up, but what will matter will be your work, the content of your work. But to some extent, where you publish, the journal, stuff like that also matters. I'm not denying that, but again, well, so the advice is that you should try to start from something which you can control, like start from something simple. For example, the example I often give, but this is need not be the only example. You can start with a pen. You can take a pen and try to balance it on its tip, and of course it will fall. So there is some very non-trivial physics hiding there. If you think about it, surface area is very small of the tip of the pen, and which direction it will fall. You can try to do some statistics, because it's basically, you can take 100, you can repeat this experiment 100 times if all you need is a pen and a relatively plain surface, right? It's not, you don't need a large hadron collider to do this kind of experiments. This is something that can be done by every high school student. So and then this is how you do the work yourself and train your mind to think like a physicist. You don't need a groundbreaking result, but it's way better to be honest about this than just use ChatGPT or some AI to claim something which even you are not sure of. But it looks very impressive. You talk about quantum field theory, you talk about Lagrangian, you talk about symmetry group theory without even understanding half of it, and you claim that you have found a very new direction towards unifying all the four forces. So, or apparently maybe you have proved that Einstein was wrong. So all those stuff like that, which is basically crackpot. So that is the only thing I would like to say. And especially looking forward, now we have to take things a little bit more seriously about the journal, because we are 6 years old now. On 1st July 2026 we turned 6, because I created the website, the platform, exactly on 1st July 2020. So yeah, it has been a pretty memorable journey. I mean, remarkable journey, along the way, along the 6 years. The first 3 years were full of self-doubt, and I many times I thought about shutting down the platform. But the only reason I didn't was that there were a few, not many, but still there were a few publications from people who, like, other than myself. So of course that would be unethical to delete that. And back then, in the initial days, maybe the first 2 or 3 years, first 2.5 years, I think, to be more precise, we didn't have like a proper editorial team, a proper kind of infrastructure, a separate team for managing the website, a separate team for none of that. So it was mostly, and power was, if I'm being honest with you, power was mostly centralized. I was the one. So that's not ethical, because I didn't, but if I wanted, I could have deleted the website. I'm being very honest with you. For the first 2 years, so that has changed. Now we have become more professional, be it with changing the editorial policies when it comes to AI, and also plagiarism and other like technical things. For example, you can take a look at our website, by the way. We are always open to suggestions and stuff. But I mean, looking forward, especially now that we are 6 years old and we are growing more serious, like we're receiving way more submissions and way more people wanting to join us, and we're also thinking of starting some new outreach events, virtual events and stuff, with the aim of popularizing physics among the younger generation. So I mean, yeah, let's look. I'm looking forward to where we, like, what the future has in store for us. And this it's really a bit unfortunate in the sense I'm still trying to come to terms with this, because the last few days were very intense with especially with the conference in Germany and the defense, the internship defense. So I was like shocked when I realized that, oh, it has been 1st July already, and I didn't make a video, or like didn't even think about, just pause and think about the JYP and that we are 6 years old. It's good in one sense, because of course the JYP is a small part of my identity, and coming from an ethical point of view, the more decentralized we become, the better. And that's why recently we have many people joining us. We have like admin access and control shared among many people, so it's good. The JYP is not about me. I started it, yeah, but it's not about me now. It's a whole ecosystem of young students interested in physics. That's the good thing. But there's also the from a personal point of view, the only bad thing is that right now I'm realizing that uh, perhaps, I mean, this is just my feeling, but that perhaps I was trying to juggle a lot more than I should for the last few days. And my work on nonlinear dynamics, maybe I will do a separate video on it where I discuss the technicalities, especially for the physicists. But since this video is general, I won't speak about the technicalities. But it was a very good reassurance for me personally that, yeah, even if you work independently, even if you're a master student, if the work is honest and good, people will take you seriously. Because it was a W.E. Heraus seminar, and it's I don't know how many of you know of the Wilhelm and Elsie Heraus Foundation, but it's one of the most important private foundations in Germany funding physics. And this was in collaboration with the German Physical Society. So it was a very good place. It was in Physics Centrum, Bad Honnef. It's a small place near Bonn. And yeah, I mean, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit intimidating initially, because you're a master student. Almost everyone else is PhD or postdoc or higher, and your poster has a single author, which can be both good and bad, if you know what I mean. But I did have an archive preprint and a GitHub repository, which were working in my favor in a way. But yeah, overall it was a very intense experience, and in a good way, I mean, especially the feedback I received. So it's good to take a break and reflect on it, but I think it's more important to see what the work becomes, like develop the work more. And I'll keep you guys updated, of course. Maybe I'll drop a version 2 of this on archive as well. But yeah, for this video, I just wanted to take a moment to reflect that the JYP is 6 years old and talk about it. I know it was not very coherent the way I spoke, perhaps because I'm not in my home right now, I'm in a public place. But yeah, thanks to all of you for your support, especially those of you who have been with me in this journey from the very beginning. And I'll see you again soon in another video. Thank you.